She blinked against the pale light, the world swimming into focus like an old film reel. The sheets smelled faintly of musk, not the comforting scent of her own linen back home, but something sharp, almost antiseptic. She sat up, heart pounding. Her head throbbed as if a storm were raging behind her eyes. And then she saw it. There, on the table, gleamed her wedding ring, the simple white gold band she'd worn for 15 years. It lay beside an antique pocket watch, as if placed on display. But this wasn't her bedroom. This wasn't her house. Her name, Laura Bennett, tumbled through her thoughts. She pressed her palm to her lip, tasting stale breath. She tried to remember how she got here, but the last thing she recalled was a laugh, a candlelit dinner, her husband's voice, low and teasing, and then darkness. Husband say us happy anniversary, my love. I promised you surprises, didn't I? Laura replied. You'd better top last year's spa weekend, Mark, or I'll never forgive you. She staggered out of bed, bare feet on hardwood. The room was unfamiliar. Dark-stained floorboards, a tall armoire, heavy drapes, and a single ornate mirror. Her reflection made her gasp. She looked different. Eyes puffy, hair mussed, makeup smudged. Panic surged. She scrambled for her phone on the bedside table. Empty. No charger. No case. Nothing. Her purse was nowhere in sight. Her shoes, her clothes gone. Only her engagement ring remained, polished and defiant. She sank to the floor, trembling. Who brought me here? What happened last night? She forced herself up and crossed to the closet, pulled open the doors, but found only a few plain outfits that didn't belong to her style. A man's charcoal sweater, a woman's gray shirt that was too large, and a jacket with a monogram. Emmy? Who was Emmy? She crept out of the room, every sense heightened. The house was quiet, too quiet. Down the hall, she found a staircase. The railing was polished to a high sheen, and the steps led to a landing overlooking a massive living room. Below, an enormous portrait hung above a fireplace. A smiling couple, her and her husband, on their wedding day. That should have comforted her. Instead, it terrified her. She recognized the smile, the veil, the champagne flutes in hand. But the house around it felt like a museum, her life on display, stripped of context. A floorboard creaked behind her. She whipped around, breath caught in her throat. No one. She followed the sound to a French door corner of the living room. Beyond lay a veranda overlooking a manicured garden. She flung the doors open and froze. In the courtyard, two men in dark suits stood rigidly on either side of a wrought iron gate. Beyond them, a cluster of chairs and umbrellas, an empty party setup. But no people, just the echo of those soft laughs and the faint hum of traffic far off. She stepped outside, the sun warm on her skin. The bodyguards, impenetrable masks, watched her every move. "Excuse me," she whispered. "Where am I?" The nearest guard, tall, bald, with cold eyes, did not answer. He beckoned with a slight nod. "Follow him." She followed, mind racing. They led her back inside, down a corridor lined with more portraits, milestones. Birthday cakes, family holidays, graduations. Each photo featured her and Mark, dated from the wedding all the way to last year's vacation in Santorini. This house had documented their entire life. But whose house was it? At the end of the hall, they entered a study. A massive desk, bookshelves, and on the wall, a map of her hometown with pins in neighborhoods, schools, her office building. A single red pin marked Bennett Residence. Beneath it, in neat handwriting, home. She stumbled back. This was a prison of her own life. The guard spoke. One word. "Wait." Then he left, closing the door with a click that echoed through her chest. She was utterly alone. She rifled the desk drawers. No phone, no wallet, just papers. Bank statements, legal documents, all bearing her name and signature. One folder was labeled "Anniversary Gift" and tied with a ribbon. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside lay a simple note, written in Mark's handwriting. 30 minutes before midnight. Trust me, M. No date, no place, but a single line was underlined. Trust me. She looked at her watch. 8:14 a.m. Midnight was almost 16 hours away. Her pulse hammered. What was she supposed to trust? As she stared at the note, she heard a telephone ring. Somewhere in the house. She jumped to her feet. She picked up the receiver. Happy anniversary, Laura. Her blood ran cold. Mark? Mark, is that you? Silence. Then a click. Dead air. She dropped the phone. Sobs rose in her throat. She forced herself to breathe. There was only one way out. She bolted from the study, racing up the stairs to the bedroom, grabbing her clothes, the ones in the closet, and pulling them on over her nightgown. She threw open the door, just as the guard caught up. He grabbed her arm. She yanked free. With adrenaline burning through her veins, she burst down the staircase and froze. Her husband, blood spattered on his shirt, a dark stain spreading across his chest. He didn't move. He just stared. Laura's heart stopped. Laura, whisper, Mark, what happened? He lifted one hand, clutching her wedding ring, now tarnished, and in his other hand, a bloody knife. Time slowed. The sunlit doorway framed a man Laura had loved for 15 years, but in this moment, she barely recognized him. Mark stood still, one hand wrapped around a bloody knife, the other cradling her wedding ring, now dulled and streaked with something dark. Mark, she whispered, her voice cracking, but he didn't answer. He simply stared, his face expressionless, eyes hollow, not furious, not confused, just gone. A moment later, two guards appeared behind Mark. They said nothing. They didn't draw weapons. They simply took him gently by the arms and led him inside, as if this had all been rehearsed, as if the blood didn't matter, as if Laura wasn't standing there, invisible in her own life. They walked him into the study. The door closed. Click. Laura stood frozen. Her world had bent into something unfamiliar, where nothing felt real and no one seemed alarmed. She clenched her fists. Something inside her clicked. She needed answers. Now, she crept close to the study door, leaned in. She heard Mark's voice, muffled. She wasn't supposed to see it this way. Another voice, a woman's, calm, authoritative. Then maybe you shouldn't have broken protocol, Mark. You let emotion in again. We warned you. Protocol? Broken? This wasn't just about her marriage. This was something else. Something orchestrated. Desperate. She rummaged through drawers. Found a tablet. Locked. She guessed her birthday as the passcode. Nothing. Tried her wedding date. Still nothing. Then she tried Mark's birthday. It opened. Photos. Hundreds of them. Most were what you'd expect. Vacations, anniversaries, smiling selfies. But some were not memories. Laura sleeping in different rooms she didn't recognize. Her standing at a balcony she didn't recall visiting. The video clip titled, Day 1, Memory Sync Attempt Failed. She opened it. Her own voice played. What do you mean I've done this before? Who are you people? Mark's voice, off camera. Just breathe, Laura. We're trying again. The screen went black. One word appeared. Laura felt like the floor had disappeared. Iteration. Subject. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't dreaming. She was part of something. Something controlled. Tell me what's going on, she screamed. Mark stood. Laura, please. But the woman across from him, the one in a sleek suit and crimson lipstick, turned to her calmly. Welcome back, Laura. You're earlier than expected. Laura's eyes blazed. Who are you? I'm the one trying to help you remember. Mark took a step forward. Laura, it's true. None of this house, this day, it's not real. Not fully. Then what is it? Mark's eyes filled with tears. It's a construct. We've been reliving our anniversary for 7 years. The words didn't register at first. Reliving? You had an accident, the woman explained. Traumatic brain injury. You lost memory in loops. Each time, your brain resets to the night before your anniversary. Mark funded this facility to try to rebuild your mind, your life, from the fragments that remained. But every time you remember, you crash. We start over. Laura collapsed into a chair. She didn't remember an accident. She didn't remember 7 years. She didn't remember anything. Flashes came. Quick. Chaotic. A car submerged. Mark shouting. A scream. "What's real?" she whispered. Mark knelt beside her. "You are. This is all for you. And the knife." Mark looked down. Silent. The suited woman answered instead. "That wasn't real. It was a stimulus. A trigger designed to push recall. Your brain needs stress to access what's locked away. No more games," she said. "No more resets. I want the truth. All of it." "Then you'll need to go back one more time," the woman replied. She handed Laura a folder marked Iteration 1, Original Event. Inside was a photo. It was Laura's car, crushed and burned. Passenger side torn open. But in the photo, the figure being pulled from the wreck wasn't her. It was a child. "Who is this?" Mark's face crumpled. That's why we started all this. That's what you forgot." And just like that, everything tilted. Her world didn't just have cracks. It had a missing piece. One she never even knew existed. Until now. Opening, low, hollow ambient hum. Camera pans across a quiet hallway. Light flickers under a door. Mark Bennett shut the door behind him. Slowly, deliberately. As if sealing in everything Laura had ever known. In one hand, a knife. In the other, her wedding ring. On his face. Not anger. Not fear. But something far worse. Relief. Laura's voice weak. "Mark, what's going on?" Mark calm, almost sad. "You don't remember. Not yet. But you will." He walked to the kitchen sink and placed the bloody knife inside. "This isn't your house," she whispered. "None of this is real." Mark, "Oh, it's very real. But it's not my house either." Narrator. He gestured to the wall. Laura followed his gaze to a framed certificate. Property of the Clarion Institute, Patient Wing. Her name was listed as a primary subject. No. Laura backed away. Mark stepped toward her. "You've been here before. You've been here for the last 3 years. 3 years ago, Laura had been diagnosed with dissociative amnesia after a tragic event. An event her mind had buried so deeply, her reality fractured. That event? The death of their daughter. She had been driving, distracted for just one moment. The car hit the tree. Her daughter, Emmy, didn't survive. Laura's mind shut down. She erased it. Erased everything. Even Mark. "Mark, they told me to let you go. That you might never come back." He looked at her with aching eyes. "But I couldn't. I needed one more chance. So I rebuilt this." He motioned around the house. "From your journals. From our photos. From our anniversaries. I recreated it all. Even the day we lost her." Mark had struck a deal with Clarion Institute, a controversial treatment protocol. A full environment immersion to help Laura remember. To let go. Everything. The guards. The photos. The ring. It had all been staged. Except for the knife. Laura steps forward, eyes wide, shaking. "You wanted me to think you killed someone?" "No. I wanted you to feel what I felt. The moment I lost both of you." It was the first time she had said her daughter's name in 3 years. Emmy's birthday, the hospital, the funeral, the closed door to the nursery. Laura gasped and remembered everything. That day, something shifted in Laura. She didn't scream. She didn't run. She just cried. And for the first time, Mark cried with her. It was not easy. Some days, she still reached for a door expecting her daughter to be on the other side. But little by little, reality came back into focus. Not the house Mark built, but the life they still had. Broken, but breathing. She still wore the wedding ring, but now it stayed on her finger. Not to mark what was lost, but to remind her of what survived. Sometimes the mind forgets to protect the heart, but the truth, when faced with love, can still bring you home. This is Zen Stories, where stories come to life. Unfiltered, unforgettable, and full of raw emotion. Each video dives deep into mysterious events, vanishing acts, shocking discoveries, and stories that will keep you hooked until the final twist. Like and subscribe for daily uploads that will move you, shock you, and stay with you long after the screen fades to black. See you tomorrow.